Next up is Growing Pains. Tonight, WIUX DJ Natalie will be interviewing Amy O, a Bloomington indie rocker, member of Brenda's friend, who founded Girls Rock Bloomington. Natalie, it's off to you.
Thank you, Tova, and thank you, Sherrod Woods. What an incredible hip-hop half hour, also featuring Edwin. Great job, you guys. I am so thankful to be on the show with Amy O, 11:30 p.m. Welcome, Amy. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thanks. Happy to be here.
Good. Yes, we had a little... Amy was about to walk into the studio at 11:30 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, I thought we were here in the morning, but you know what? I'm here.
Oh, past your bedtime.
Yeah. Sleepy and excited.
Yes. Okay, good. Glad to hear. Yeah, we've got about 25 minutes to chat. I was just wanting to kind of walk through your life, hear a little bit more about you. I know you've got some things coming up that you want to talk about, that you're excited about. But I and a lot of the people in WIUX are just really excited about you because you're someone who does it all. And I just want to hear about your origins. You're a singer, songwriter, business person, all around go-getter. And I'm just wondering, how did it start in your college days? How did you get started? What was your musical beginnings like?
Well, I have a very musical family, so I just kind of grew up around it. And I started teaching myself guitar in high school. And then in college, I started getting more serious about working on songwriting and just kind of doing like 4-track recordings in my room and keeping it pretty low-key, playing a few shows and stuff. And I really just did that for quite a few years of just kind of like building my craft of songwriting in private. And then I guess in my around like 27 I was like, all right, I'm ready to start to just get out there. I don't know why it took me so long, but yeah. And then I just started playing shows, and I moved to Brooklyn for a while. I had been living in Northampton, Massachusetts, and played shows around Brooklyn, and then like planned this big tour. And I came through Bloomington, and I was looking for a place to move, and met my now husband when I was traveling through Bloomington. We actually kind of already knew each other, but not very well. And then I ended up coming here and pursuing music.
Yeah. How do you, I mean, I feel like it makes sense. You know, you go to New York, and obviously there's a huge music scene there and a lot of people. I mean, but why did you want to move away from that and into, I feel like some people would be confused as to why you would go to the Midwest.
Kind of a funny, I think a lot of my friends were confused. But, well, I had lived like quite a few different places. And I really just wanted to try New York. And I happened to actually get a job at the Girls Rock Camp there, Willie Mae Rock Camp for Girls. But it was just like a 1-year position. They had a grant for 1 year to have this after-school program. So that was like a dream to get that job. And that was what got me passionate about the Girls Rock programs. And yeah, I think, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but I think I'm just, I just felt like it was all a little too hard there.
Sure.
And then I also, you know, it was like the relationship drew me here, and I had other friends here, and it just felt like the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you take away anything being in New York just about being an artist or about teaching others that you took with you to Bloomington?
I don't know. I mean, I think in a way it sort of like demystified, like being in that place where it's like easy to romanticize, like, oh, somehow people are better or they're doing more exciting things. I think it helped to demystify that. And it helped me to coming here. Like, I was so impressed with the quality of like musicians here, and I was like, this is like definitely as cool as what's going on there in terms of the music scene that I was like in a more like DIY music scene sense. It's not like we have all the big concerts and all that, but but yeah, just in terms of like friends and what they're doing, it's like people are just doing cool stuff everywhere, and it doesn't matter if you're in a city or a town.
Yeah, cool stuff is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Just going back to when you first started songwriting, do you feel like you considered, like you grew up in a musical environment, but do you consider yourself more a writer? Were you writing stuff other than songs when you first got started, or were you always gravitating towards writing music?
Yeah, I did used to write like poetry more, and I did really enjoy that, but I felt like once I started songwriting, that was like what really lit a spark in me, because it was just kind of more interesting to me to have like the puzzle of putting it to music.
Mm-hmm. Who were your like earlier influences when you were first songwriting, if you remember?
Well, Joni Mitchell is a really big influence. And I was always a big Tom Petty fan. Big like Mira fan. I really liked Bikini Kill, Sleater-Kinney.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Those are just a few that pop into my head.
Yeah. On your like escapades in New York and also in Bloomington, has there been a favorite band that you've played with, or a favorite band that you've seen or gotten to connect with?
Let's see. I opened for Speedy Ortiz recently, and that was really great, because I've become friends with Sadie, the lead singer of that band, and it's really cool to like. That was the first time I'd seen them play in person. Yeah. I opened for Waxahachie once, and that was really cool, just being a big fan.
Yeah. That's awesome. So when you got here to Bloomington, around what year was that?
I came in 2013.
2013, okay. And then you were just working as a musician here?
I got a job at Rhino's Youth Center, which I don't know if people know about it because it's closed down now, but it was a really awesome, like, all-ages music venue and also teen arts center.
And what were you doing with them?
So I was there quite a while. So I had a lot of positions. I started out as the art director, and then I made zines with the teenagers, and then I was eventually the assistant director.
Yeah. And then what was like that whole experience like working with the teens there? And what did you take away from your time there, although the venue has since closed?
Yeah. I learned so much there. I mean, I learned like everything I was teaching, I was also secretly learning how to do.
Yeah.
Like I was learning how to do screen printing, and I was learning how to make zines, and basically just, kind of helping to create a space, but then learning along with them. And I still have like really sweet relationships with a number of the teens that I met there. Yeah, I think I hadn't worked with teens before I got that job, and it was like kind of intimidating at first, but I eventually, I got used to it. I think it like made me have like a thicker skin in certain ways, because they just don't, they don't care about a lot of things that you're trying to get them to do.
And then you went on to work with college students at Ivy Tech, right? You taught a songwriting course?
Yeah, I did a songwriting course. It was actually like part of their lifelong center for learning. So it was all ages.
Okay.
Some people were older.
Okay. When you were teaching that class, like what was kind of your ethos? What were you trying to communicate to the people who were in it?
So it was called like intuitive songwriting, and the idea was that I didn't want to focus on like technique or how good you were at your instrument or music theory, but just more like that everyone kind of like almost a childlike approach of like anyone can write a song and just start from where you are, and like don't really like sort of tossing out all the preconceptions of what makes a good song.
when you're writing music, like, is that something that you find it easy to adhere to, like to kind of strip away that, or do you feel like you have any barriers within yourself?
I think like as I've gotten more experienced, it kind of has been a little harder to break away from a formula that, even if it's a formula that I've developed. So yeah, the past few years I've been taking like songwriting classes online from this place called School of Song. That's a really awesome resource. They're out of LA, but they have like digital offerings for everyone.
Yeah.
And I've taken classes with a bunch of great artists, like Chris Cohen and Zinio Rabinos and Robin Pecknold, and it was like very cool. Anyway, so it just kind of allowed me to approach things very differently than I would, and I've found that it's like opened up my songwriting.
Yeah, I think that's something that I often think about. Like, if you are trying to break out of your mold, is that authentic to who you are? But I think it's like, if you do it, then it is your songwriting. Like, I don't know, but I think it's an interesting thing to be like, to purposely try to break out of your habits, but it's still you.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
It can't help but be you, I think. So.
Yeah.
And I think after just so long of writing songs, it's kind of like, I just want to keep it interesting for myself. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not stick to a formula.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like, in terms of subject matter or content, is there anything that you gravitated a lot to when you were younger, or things that you've just consistently written about over the years, things that you like just enjoy exploring with songwriting?
That's a good question. I don't know. A lot of it is like can be kind of stream of consciousness. I'd say I consistently draw from like dreams that I have.
That's really cool.
Because I try to write down my dreams.
Yeah.
So I'll often like go through and just circle little phrases that are interesting and kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're always writing? Do you like sit down and have writing sessions? Like, when you're approaching a song, is it spanned over a lot of time? What does it look like for you now?
It varies. It's definitely changed a lot since having a child, because I just don't have the same time that I used to.
Yeah.
But I'm usually like a pretty fast writer, or like it's kind of like if I get in the zone, like there's no stopping me.
Yeah.
Get out of my way, world. But I will go through like times where, like maybe months where I'm not writing songs at all, and then maybe I have like a burst of songs come up or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
in general, like, how has life changed since having a kid? What's it like being a working musician and educator, and also having a family to think about?
Yeah. I think I'm still figuring it out. It just takes like so much of myself to be parenting, obviously.
Yeah.
That I just have, a lot less to give to the things that I used to, but I think I've found ways to like do things so much more efficiently.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool.
Yeah. How do you think that, like, because you have spent so many years working with kids, do you feel like you bring that into how you parent your child, or is it just kind of a completely separate ballgame?
Yeah, in some ways it's kind of like I do bring some sort of philosophies, I guess, of, certain ways of talking, or trying not to like talk down to children, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I could have never prepared for is just that you're with them all the time. So it's like, when you're at your job, you can like kind of put your best face forward and then go home and like chill out. But with this, it's like you just kind of have to do it from even when you're at your worst. So it's just a lot more human, I guess.
Yeah. Are you hoping to raise a future musician? Are you hoping to instill that?
I mean, I not gonna like pressure her or anything.
Yeah.
But she already seems pretty musical. She's 3.5. She's like into singing, and like she has a little drum kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you grow up around that, like it just kind of seeps into you. Like you can't help
I bet
it.
It will. Yeah.
She could be the next.
Maybe she'll rebel though and be like
a softball player.
Yeah, softball player. An athlete.
Can you imagine
The
that would
horror.
No. I think that's what my parents were probably. They put me in music, and then I picked up softball in high school, and I think they were like, okay, like that's cool.
No, sports are actually really great.
Sports are great.
They're cool, man.
They're cool. Sports are cool. Music's cool. Fun them all.
Yeah.
They all have a place. Very cool. I'm always just thinking about, just having a kid to worry about in addition to yourself seems like I don't know. That's years down the line
wild.
though. So I'll keep thinking about it in the back of my head. But in addition to Amy O, you also have Brenda's Friend, which is your project with your friend Erin. Right? That's who they are?
Yeah, Erin Toby.
Erin Toby, okay. Can you tell me about the birth of that project, how that came about?
Yeah, so we have like a funny backstory because we started 7 years ago. And then we were pretty active for like 2 years. And then we stopped for 6 years. And then last year we just started again. So we're back. But yeah, basically we were both just kind of fans of each other's solo work. And she just called me up one day and was like, hey, do you want to be in a band?
And you said yes,
apparently. I was so honored because I was and am a big fan. So, yeah.
I think the two-person dynamic is super interesting because she's on drums and singing and you're on guitar and singing.
And she also plays guitar sometimes, too.
Which is crazy. A lot of movement, a lot of things going on.
Yes.
How do you, what's your writing dynamic like? And is it easy to work with one person? I know you have multiple people supporting you in the Amy O band. So, what's the kind of contrast between that?
We have a really good creative dynamic, I would say. We usually, one of us will be kind of like the main songwriter on a song, and bring it to the band about 2/3 finished. So we never write from scratch together.
Okay.
But maybe we will sometime. It'd be fun to try. But yeah, then we'll just kind of take it and finish it up together.
Yeah. How do you differentiate between a Brenda's Friend song or an Amy O song if you're writing?
I do. Sometimes that's a little tricky, but I don't know. I just kind of, I think if I have lyrics that are a little nonsensical or silly or outlandish, I'm more likely to turn them into a Brenda's Friend song. Yeah.
I think I'm always just curious, people balancing multiple projects, how they kind of categorize everything in their heads.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like I was saying earlier, if you're writing something, it's organic to you. I don't know. It's just how do you kind of split your time between things? But
I've realized though that from being in the band and then taking time off and very much focusing on my solo stuff and now being in it again, I realized that it really feeds my solo work too, actually. Which is kind of surprising because you would think it would be I'm just going to focus on one at a time. But somehow it seems to inspire. I think because I'm working with Erin, it gets me thinking about songwriting differently.
Yes.
So then that makes me want to approach my own stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. What's been a favorite show or thing that you've done recently or something coming up that you're really excited about? I know you're telling me.
Well, actually tomorrow I'm playing a show at the Fell it's Yuki Kawana's album release show.
Ooh,
so I'm excited for that.
That would be huge.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be, I'm going to take a little winter break. So that'll be my last show for maybe a few months or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
No stress. And you were saying too that you were manning another project that's coming out.
Oh yeah. I'm going to release a new album. I'm not going to say the time yet, but because it's not exactly nailed down, but sometime in 2024.
Yeah, very cool. What's your recording process like?
Well, so this album is really different than anything I've done before.
Okay.
It was, usually I just go into the studio and, knock it out in a week or something.
Yeah.
But for this, it was just such a different time because I recorded it like throughout like COVID and early parenthood. And I was kind of, the goal of it was like, I want to keep being a musician. How do I do this?
Yeah.
Like during these times.
Yeah.
So I basically just like decided to do like kind of a DIY demos style album, and just recorded at friends' houses and collaborated with different people. So yeah, it's a bit of a different sound than the last few albums.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. How do you think just in, the past few years with COVID obviously wreaking havoc on everything and just the music scene in general, but just in your time in Bloomington, how have things changed? Like, what's your perspective on the scene over the years?
Yeah, there has been a lot of change. I've been here 10 years. I mean, it's a pretty transient town. So, just lots of different projects like coming in and out.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like farther away from it just from not like going out as much. So that's kind of, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I just feel a little out of touch. But at the same time, I do still feel in touch through doing work with like Girls Rock Bloomington. So, and I love just like working with kids and hoping that they actually start playing shows and like become part of the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to talk a little bit more about Girls Rock and the work you've been doing with them, I would love to hear.
Oh, yeah, totally. So I started Girls Rock Bloomington in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like a very intimidating thing to do, like to start a camp and a nonprofit. But I really just kind of like took it one step at a time. And the whole way through, I've had like so many people stepping in and helping out. And I just feel like from the beginning, a lot of people responded with like, yeah, I want to be part of that and I want to support that. So it's made it feel really doable.
Cool.
But yeah, it's if people don't know, it's a camp and after school program for girls, trans, and non-binary youth. And we do music, education, and mentorship.
Yeah. And I was keeping track of what was going on this summer with the camps, and you've got photo shoots and band names and live performances, and it's really fun. It's basically like a little microcosm of like the music industry and what it's like to go through the whole process of like being a songwriter and making an album and playing shows and having press photos and just, having the kids do all that. Yeah. And there's I know a good amount of volunteer help. Yeah, it's largely volunteer run. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's kind of your vision for the future when it comes to Girls Rock? I mean, I have a lot of ideas. I think I'm really just like, at this point, I'm trying to just kind of build a really strong foundation of like what we already have going. So with the camp and the after school programs, and maybe in like, I don't know, 5 years or so, like we can kind of like build out even more. Yeah. like maybe do more adult programming, or, I'd love to do like a camp, sort of maybe it'd be like a weekend camp or even a full camp for adults. Yeah, a retreat. Yeah, totally, a retreat. Because I've heard so many people say like they wish they had that when they were a kid. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wish I had that when I was a kid. So. Yeah, I know. Me too. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Do you feel like you have a lot of frequent campers, returners? I do. I've gotten to know the kids pretty well. I'd say it's like maybe half and half old kids and new kids each year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have kids that have been coming for 5 years now. About. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Do you feel like you've and you've worked, like we said, with kids for a long time, but from this group of Girls Rock Bloomington students, do you feel like you've taken away anything from them and what they're doing and what they're excited about? I think I guess it just always kind of makes the process of being in a band and writing songs seem so simple and like I think especially like what you can write a song about, because they'll just write the silliest, it's like, I'm going to write a song about walking to my grandma's house and I have to buy some ice cream and like, what flavor should I buy?
And then that's just the whole premise of the song.
And it works.
And it's amazing.
Yeah. That's a good songwriter technique. Just think like a child and
exactly. Yeah.
And you can get some good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we are just about out of time, but I am so thankful that you were able to come on so late in the evening. It's been a real joy to talk to you, Amy.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. This has been Growing Pains. I'm normally on Fridays at 3 p.m. on 99.1. We are about to hop to the next portion of the evening at midnight. We're going to hear from Westhead. This will be our final live music set of the evening. If you've enjoyed what you've heard so far, you can go to WIUX.org and click that donate button. All the money that we raise this week will go in support of Culture Shock, our free music festival that happens in the spring, and just to support station operations. So yeah, keep listening in. We'll be here for the next 13 hours, and we will see you soon. So thank you again, Amy. Stay tuned for Westhead, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.